Okay, look at that. We are live. Cool. Welcome, everyone. This is our weekly broadcast, Alpha for Everyone here at Gopher. And we're just kicking this thing off. So we just kicked off the stream. We're going to give a few moments for everybody to join, which is great. Let's see here. The link is live, and I think we are ready to rock. We'll just give a couple minutes for everyone to join. And stoked today, we got a special guest, another one of our Gopher team members. You guys probably haven't met officially yet for all the new community members. So we'll get into this in just a second, but we're really excited to have Grant here and excited to have everyone tuning in. Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, GM to everybody. Hope you're having a good week and staying out of like liquidations by using GoTrader. Yeah. Oh, I'm really hearing myself back to myself. Grant, could you mute?
I am muted, yep.
Weird. I don't know what that was. Wasn't you, Grant? It was something else. That was bizarre. Well, good to see everyone. Having that.
Yeah, all good.
We're just my voice, which I don't like the sound of my voice. Which would surprise a lot of you.
That makes two of us. Whenever I get echoes, I just cringe so hard. So I think there's a lot of people who feel that way. For all of you guys who are joining, let's get a what's up in the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And yeah, it looks like we got 66 views. And so they're starting to rack up here, which is great. With that, I think we're pretty good to jam and get started. So I'll just reintroduce the stream again. Welcome everyone to Alpha for Everyone, our Gopher stream that we do live here on X, where we go through GoTrader, our various products, and the things that we're building here at Gopher. Let you into our process while also showing you the ins and outs, how everything we've built works, and give you some hot alpha about what's coming ahead. So we're excited to do all of that here today. I'm joined by our awesome team, founder here at Gopher, Brendan, and one of our cracked engineers and devs, no doubt, Grant. So welcome, you guys.
Yeah, good to see everyone. I'm excited to have Grant here because Grant has been working a lot on one of our new features we're going to demo to you all today. It's a pretty big one that everyone's been asking for in the community. And the typical structure of these kind of sessions is to kind of tee up some of the new features we're building, use some of the features, take some questions from the community, and really show you what's coming next. And it's always an opportunity to both get some like alpha from the market, so you really understand how to use the product well and use it to your advantage, and then have a view on, and an opinion on where we're going. So, suggesting new features, coming up with ideas, and making this really collaborative space for everyone both to learn and contribute to where the project is going. And I can see people kind of tuning in on the comments. So if you have any questions or comments, you can leave it in the comments chat in StreamYard. You can put it into the Twitter comments on the Twitter post, X post, sorry, I'm still stuck back in the old ages. Or you can come in and join our Telegram chat, which is, I think, at GoTrader, if I've got that correct, is the handle.
Yep, that's right.
So yeah, today Grant's going to kick off demonstrating and running through this new sentiment product, and the new sentiment product, which is coming into the dashboard, is there to give you a view on the market pulse of what is going on generally across the space. As some of you will know, the genesis of GoTrader was a combination of both what we were doing with Massa before we upgraded to Gopher, which is scraping and aggregating data to give to AI, with a problem that I was solving for myself and other friends I had in the community, which was myself and other people spending such an insane amount of time trying to gather together enough information on the market to make sense of what's going on in crypto all of the time, to make better decisions and execute better financial decisions in the crypto market, which is chaotic. It's busy. It's always changing very, very rapidly. And if you're not careful, the change and the rapid evolution of the space will catch you off guard. But within that change and volatility, there's a huge amount of alpha. And we're now going to, going forward, call this alpha for everybody, because the goal here is to make alpha available for everybody, giving you the tools that the institutional traders, the hedge funds, and really focus on making every single one of you a either individual hedge fund and giving you the tools that the $5 trillion hedge fund industry has had for years. Giving that to you all so as you can use it and making it very easy for you to access the best alpha in the space. So with that, I'll hand over to Grant. You can kind of see he's already sharing a screen here, and he can walk you through our latest product that's coming into Gopher Trader this week.
Cool. Thank you, Brendan. Yeah, really exciting time at Gopher. I feel like this week was the thesis week where we got to see our original thesis play out, and really excited to show you the latest feature here with sentiment analysis. Just moving back a few steps, we have our data application where we can search Twitter, web, TikTok, Reddit, and LinkedIn. We also have an easy to use API. And over the last couple of weeks, we've been building a client that essentially sits on top of this API. And it just runs wild. So we're currently tracking 6 assets. This will scrape web, search Twitter, and iteratively every 10 minutes, basically come up with a sentiment score on the market. So what's really exciting is with this first feature in GoTrader, we're tracking these 6 assets, but of course this is extremely flexible across not only any asset, but sort of any topic as well. And so you can kind of see the AI's reasoning in each of these cards. So with Bitcoin, for instance, it looked at coin market cap, coin 360. It's seen some mildly bullish chatter on Twitter. Ethereum, looking at ETF inflows and outflows. And this is kind of this perfect V1 of using our data to derive market sentiment, which in our mind can sort of be this extra layer on top of trading data that we're already harvesting. This is going to absolutely explode over the next couple of weeks as we continue to iterate on this. What you're seeing here is just 2 days of work. And so we're really excited to continue to run with this and bring it into the actual platform to sort of massage the recommendations that the agents are giving. For me personally, this has been a huge win to see this come together. I had this thesis early on that it won't be humans using our product, but rather AI. And we have just seen our jobs absolutely explode. I believe the sentiment agent has run more queries than I have. And I've been using our product for about a year, and it's been using it for 1.5 days. So very exciting to watch this kind of play out, and really pumped to get this into production.
Awesome.
Yeah, and just to kind of add here, like I think Grant is sort of understating the 2 days of work. What you see here is actually collectively like years of work coming together here.
Yes.
And the terminal that Grant showed you is a representation of an agent thinking critically, reasoning within a framework, and doing the job that we all do as researchers. So taking an asset, Bitcoin, looking at the most relevant sources of information. Grant can kind of walk you through specifically what they are in a bit more detail, and then coming up with a view on the market. And this is exactly as human beings assessing, like, honestly, any situation in life, whether it be the markets, whether it be what food to eat, whether it be what to wear today. You kind of go out, you gather this information within a framework that is representing the context or the problem that you're trying to solve, and you then build up layers of thinking, and each layer ends up taking you closer to a decision. And we look at this flow of like discovery, synthesis and learning, and then ultimately leading to some kind of insight or creativity that then allows you to execute and make a decision. And the decision here that you're making is, one that's informed and educated about what is happening in the market. So if you were to look recently at the news on Ethereum, you will see that the Ethereum Foundation has been selling blocks of ETH to SharpLink in large transactions. So, and you'll see here that's reflected in this summary. So while ETH is not a top gainer, there are funds and large buys happening, which imply potential upside. The agent is seeing and understanding part of like the external news feed that's or the news cycle right now that is representing these larger participations in the space. You could equally think about layering like ETF flows in here as well. So ETF flows over the last 4 days or 5 days have been really negative. Correlates very strongly to the fact that the market has been going down as those institutional players reduce their exposure to volatility. And obviously, like it says here, Twitter signals are mixed. Well, Twitter is chaotic. X is chaotic. You have a lot of people that are LARPing on certain things, and a lot of people that know what they're talking about. And trying to filter through that noise is really difficult. So the goal here is to cut through the bullshit, cut through the noise, and give you something that's very easy to like digest, where over time you can start drilling into this data more. And from this like overall dashboard, almost like Bloomberg for crypto, you can then start discovering the best trades. You can then start analyzing the asset in detail. And as we'll kind of show you later, you'll be able to deploy an automated strategy to trade a strategy for you in a very, very, very profitable way. Back over to you, Grant, and Avatar.
Yeah, I'll just say that one thing that I have as a part of my week is I join this crypto town hall, the Mario Enough Walls one, and when I do, there's a lot of really smart people working with all sorts of funds and DATs. I really want to be educated going into that on the market, as well as just like know what's going on in the market. That means I'm going to CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, news sites, and a lot of time, like I end up burning way too much time scrolling through X trying to get news on specific assets to just develop like my own thesis so I can communicate it properly. Obviously, one step next would be like putting that into an investment strategy. Like all that takes a ton of time to actually know what's going on an individual asset like Bitcoin, let alone a multitude of assets. So just to sort of summarize here, it's like that we're taking all of that effort, which can take an individual hours, and then we're automating that to scan X or Twitter, to scan these different sites and develop an AI rendered thesis. Is that accurate, Grant? Can you like dive into that a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what's exciting is that you, instead of wasting or spending most of your time on the labor of educating yourself, you get to now think about the strategy for how you want your team of agents to sort of educate you, and it'll be really interesting to essentially gamify this and create a competition of what strategies yield the best results. I think what we've experienced recently is this sort of slingshot analogy where we spent the last 3 to 6 months really creating an extremely solid foundation with everything from our miners mining the data to our API stability, all of that. And now we're just on this rocket ship where this quick implementation is just sort of proof in the pudding that it'll quickly raise our eyebrows. We're already seeing positive results just with this first round, and so I'm really excited to see it continue. Even something as simple as scraping a few websites, right, gives the agent just enough extra information to gain an edge. And watching that evolve is going to be super interesting.
I think that's a great point, Grant. Could you actually like dig in for everyone who's tuned in around like they might be wondering where's the data coming from and how are we pulling this off? So maybe we can just like dig one level deeper and just sort of lay that out for everybody so they understand
for
more
sure.
infra.
Yeah, so this current iteration is built on 2 of our data sources, web and Twitter. What's really interesting about the Twitter implementation is that we don't tell the agent what accounts to look at or what hashtags to look at. We give the agent the understanding of how Twitter works and how to search with it. So the way our API is built, the query itself holds a lot of value. So you can say, from : to an account. You can do hashtags with time ranges, things like that. And so with Twitter, it runs wild knowing, hey, I'm interested in understanding sentiment on these 6 assets. I want to prioritize tweets and accounts with large followings and impressions. And watching it work on Twitter has been really interesting in that regard. And then with web, we took a step back and said, actually, we want to just feed it these particular websites. So CoinMarketCap, top losers and gainers, Coin360. Obviously, there's a multitude of websites you could borrow from, but it was really interesting to see the sort of dichotomy and the differences between these 2 data sources, and approaching them with different strategies to get the most out of it was definitely an eye-opener. So yeah, just with this first implementation, I believe we're working on 3 websites, 2 CoinMarketCap, 1 Coin360, and then as I mentioned with Twitter, it kind of just runs wild and is able to basically determine itself how best to derive sentiment.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's been really fun to work with. My entire job has changed in the last 2 days.
And what's really interesting here is our CTO, who's not here. I think I've kind of explained his credentials before. He built one of the largest inference platforms anywhere outside of like Olama, for example, local AI. Has spent the last 2 years building the infrastructure around the reasoning and logic that is used in our agents, and it's part of our secret sauce. So when you see the terminal that Grant is showing you, there is endless hours of time and research dedicated to this. And what's really interesting about the way in which we structure logic and thinking on the back end is it requires very, very low powered models. So there's often this thinking that there is a trend towards more compute, more powerful models, bigger models, when in reality, reasoning and thinking can be optimized through fine-tuning with prompts and using layers of thinking. So you don't necessarily need, like, if I was to give any of you a huge problem to solve and you tried to solve the entire problem in one go, your brain would explode. If instead you were given a problem and you started solving that problem in small pieces, incrementally, your brain won't explode. So there's like, eating the elephant a bite at the time is really important. And that's what this does. Like, if you take the big problem, break it down into small pieces and then iterate on those small pieces, you can actually end up using a very small model in a very powerful way to get the same outcome as one would expect from a, let's say, jumbo model. And that's really exciting. That's really exciting. And I will in a minute kind of go on to show you where this goes, and then what is in it for you all. Like, how does this translate into actual alpha and actual winning for all of you in the space? But yeah, just wanted to add that. So back over to you, Amato.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think, like, building on that idea, Brendan, it would be great for you and Grant to sort of touch on how the various features in GoTrader are sourcing varying data types and using different models so that people kind of understand the dynamism of what is built. Maybe don't have to go too deep, but just like at a top level.
Yeah. And I'll actually kind of grab a share screen real quick to sort of show you. So for those of you that have used the platform before, beyond what Grant is showing you, and we'll be releasing the sentiment page imminently. So on here you should now see my view of my instance of GoTrader. For any of you that are using this, there's a known like UI issue where if your screen is too zoomed in, you lose quite a lot of the chat, like you saw there. All you do is control and minus and zoom out, and you'll start getting it. We're going to do a bit of a UI refresh at some point, but we're most focused today on getting additional features out to you. So if you are seeing like screen loading issues, just zoom out and you should be able to use the product better. It's because
Brennan,
we added all these.
Oh, I'm just not seeing your screen just yet, just so you know.
All right, that's weird.
There we go. Now we're all set.
Oh, wow, there was a real lag. Okay, cool. There's a real lag. So I'm just going to zoom in. You'll notice that I lose the chat. If I zoom out, the chat comes back. So just be aware of that. It's because we have a lot of these new toggle features here, and they really need to be at the side, so as they're not compressing the chat and you're having more chat real estate. So within this context, this is the advanced analysis page, which the majority of you kind of like really experienced traders are using a lot. Like many of you are using this product an absolute ton. And this is where we have both our like V1 model, which is what we launched with, which has got a slightly different prompt to and data ingestion to our V2 model. Very soon, you as a user will actually be able to start editing your own prompt. So going outside of the actual prompt that you have defined by us, which is sort of the work that we have done to provide what we think is the best baseline output for the requirements laid out here. There are ways in which you can change the prompt. So like by selecting scalp, the prompt changes. The time frames of data that go into the decision and the thinking change. Same with intraday, same with swing. Same with if I want to do a scalp trade or an intraday, the way in which the prompt and the logic is constructed on the back end is customized for every single one of these actions when you click one of these actions to give the optimal outcome and the optimal analysis for you. So what that does is it just removes a layer of thinking. It means that you don't have to sit here and say, oh yeah, for a scalp strategy, I need to select the 1 minute, the 5 minute, the 15-minute chart. I need to phrase my question to the LLM in a certain way. It's just all done for you. So when I hit scalp trade, it's going to select all the relevant indicators. It's going to select the right time frames. And what this is doing is this is going off to our back end and pulling all of this data in real time. And I'm going to show you in a moment how that happens through our first automated trading agent, of which performance is really good. I'm going to demonstrate and show you a high frequency trading scalp agent. And I'm also going to demonstrate the results of one of our intraday swing agents that's been running for the last 4 days and is now at 20%, actually 20% return on equity over the last 4 days, which, given this is the market structure of Bitcoin of ETH today, is probably outperforming most traders and LARPers on X or Twitter. So you can see here, it's recommending a short scalp, taking a position at this level, setting a stop losses. So we will, in the very near future, have like a one-click trade for you guys on Hyperliquid. So you can imagine down here seeing trade now on Hyperliquid, looking to try and get that out to you early next week, maybe Monday or Tuesday, giving you the ability to connect your Hyperliquid account, open the position. And for those of you that haven't seen me actually placing a trade in Hyperliquid, let me show you. Oh, I'm always doing this when I'm not on a VPN. Okay. Oh, what a joy it is to be in the US. And if I was to transition and place a trade, you would see the trade show up in the chat here. I'll make sure I'm organized for this next week when we do the next session. And it will even include your trade in its analysis. So it'll help you understand if your trade is moving against you, you can then talk about, should I move my stop loss? Should I kill the trade? If the trade is moving with you and you're seeing really great gains, the market has got a lot of momentum, either to the downside or the upside, you can have a conversation, should I move my stop loss to break even? Should I extend my take profits? And you can actually have a detailed, in-depth conversation with your trade. So what we have here, to what Amateo is saying, data feeds coming in from multiple asset sources. We support over 100,000 assets, including gold, Bitcoin, bonds, stocks, all of that. And we then support the ability to pull in your trading data from Hyperliquid. And it will then be able to kind of bring those two things together. And we'll be now adding different sources. Like, for example, somebody's talking about liquidation data on here are liquidation levels. You'll be able to select a button here that will say, include coin blast liquidation levels, include like ETF flows. So as the agent has those external context data sources, even going back to what Grant showed you on the sentiment side, like include current sentiment on Bitcoin. So you're using another agent who's your research intern or whatever that looks like to go out, do their work, bring it back, and then add it into your more detailed analysis, giving you this kind of like full suite of tools that, like we said at the beginning, allows you to build up a picture very, very quickly of what the market's doing, and really focus on the strategy like Grant is talking about, removing that cognitive load. So I'll just pause there, see if there's any questions or thoughts I would say before I kind of dive into what I think most people are excited about and we're excited about, which is the next phase of this, which is moving to automated trading. And to be honest with you, crushing N of one's results.
Love it. Love it. Grant, is there anything else you want to add to what Brendan shared?
No, I think he's spot on. Just the snowball effect of all this coming together.
Cool. Yeah. I think that the thing that I want to like impress upon everyone is there has been, so I talked about GoTrader recently, and there was a little bit of an idea that, models aren't necessarily something new, and that when a model gets deployed, things get a little bit crowded. But I think that there is this sort of legacy idea of automated, maybe even machine learning models, and this new era of being able to use these data feeds and like these frontier customized models and agents, and why this is so unique. And I don't know if that goes fully appreciated how novel what we're doing is. And so before you move into like the automation piece, Brendan, I was wondering if you could just touch on like the novel aspect and how new and how this technology was like not even possible until recently.
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? Like every month we seem to be getting increasingly more powerful models. What's interesting about LLMs is LLMs are particularly good at predicting speech patterns or phrasing of text and inferring. That's why inference is called inference, like inferring what the next word in a sentence is. Now, it doesn't necessarily lend them an LLM to be particularly good at trading, right? I'm going to show you what that means. I'm going to show you, and hopefully my browser won't crash, because it seems like every time I load this, my browser crashes. This is N of 1 Alpha Arena, and as you can see, LLMs, when they're not given the right data and when they're not pre-trained or fine-tuned in the right way or have the right prompts, perform honestly pretty poorly. I think they now have removed their chat sessions, which is interesting. I was looking at this last night. Now their season's over. And if you were to review some of the chat sessions here, you would see that oftentimes the agents were thinking, or the models were thinking like degens. Like I remember seeing a chat here, which was, I think from Gemini, where it said, I'm minus 57% down on my opening balance, and I'm nursing 3 short positions, which I'm hoping to make everything back with. And that isn't good trading. That is gambling. And that is what ends up losing a lot of money. And the reason being is that the prompts that the agents are being given and the way in which they're able to reason and look at their own decisions is not mature enough. And what we have in Gopher is a really mature stack for building that particular set of reasoning, a really mature stack for building and curating data pipelines. So as when an agent does reason, it knows which bit of data to pick and why it's important. It doesn't start getting itself stuck in a degen loop, which honestly is comical. It's comical to see this kind of behavior in a set of agents, which then starts to force like bad decisions. Like I remember seeing Quen Max take this big leg up on its P&L, And it's because it went degenerate long on Bitcoin at like 20x, and the trade happened to work out. And like what you can see is if it continues to behave that way, everything gets eroded away. Now, we can find, 1,000 cases, 100,000 cases of that on X every single day of people taking that approach. That is not the way our model works. Our model works by managing risk and ensuring that you are the best trader based on the current conditions of the market. And so as you don't behave like a degenerate AI model that just kind of swing trades and kind of trades itself into oblivion, which I have done before in the past as a human being. And I'm sure that many of you have also experienced that as well. And by what Amateo is saying, connecting it back to like what is possible today, is we now have this entire universe of small compressed models that, when coupled with extremely precise reasoning logic and layers of the right logic with the right data, can provide excellent outcomes over time. And just to kind of demonstrate some of this and where this is going, we'll now kind of like sidestep here. So we, over the coming month or so, maybe a couple of weeks, are going to launch our own set of automated agents that are all using different strategies. So Alpha Arena used a set of models, all with the same prompt. What we will be doing is we'll be using our optimized agents that essentially can auto trade different strategies with different data sources, so as you can evaluate which strategy works the best. Maybe a strategy is that we're going to scalp trade on the 1 and 5 minute time frame, and we are going to ignore all external noise from ETF flows, for example. Maybe we're going to have a strategy that is an intraday or a positional strategy that is going to take swing trades, and those swing trades are going to be influenced by macro factors. Maybe that's Federal Reserve minutes, maybe that is interest rate decisions, and maybe that is ETF flows, using those as your external data sources to help influence the strategy. So what is important here is like understanding that the way in which you build the strategy, and for many of you that trade already, you'll realize this, like it isn't necessarily that you're a good or a bad trader, it's that you've got a good or a bad strategy. And a bad strategy would be not having a stop loss, going full port max long and just wanting it to ride out to oblivion if you're not going to 100x. And what I'm going to show you is like what happens with compounding returns over time that happen when you have lots of wins. And what I'm showing you here is a very early prototype that we've been using internally of our agent platform, which when it ships to you, it's going to look better than this. But it essentially allows you to add an agent. You can select a strategy from the templates directory. Like, let's say that I want to do a trend following strategy. I want to use one of many models to do this strategy. I'm going to call this agent X test for now. I can put in my API key. And again, for users of the platform, you won't need to add an API key. That'll be provided by our infrastructure. And then it has direction and guidance. Like I can even go into here and like customize this. I want to only risk 1% of capital per trade, adjust my stop accordingly. And this will allow you to not only use a template, a set of templates that trade the strategy, which we will be demonstrating and proving out publicly on Hyperliquid, and showing you how this is going to annihilate the results of N of 1. You can change your candle intervals, you can do evaluation periods. So all of the things that you're used to evaluating here in the advanced analysis, you're going to be able to migrate that knowledge and understanding of your strategy into an automated strategy. You can do paper trading or live trading, and the exchange we'll be supporting is not going to be Binance. It's going to be Hyperliquid for placing and executing trades. Hyperliquid will be the first exchange that you can use. And initially, this will go out with our own models, proving out, and then later you'll be able to come and create your own agents and deploy those with your own capital. And then later on, you'll be able to, as someone that doesn't want to create a strategy, you'll be able to deploy money into other people's strategies. So imagine that you're an individual, you've got this banging strategy that's like killing it. Very much like this one that I'm going to show you here, which is an internal model that was deployed by our CTO on Saturday. Started off with $10,000 in the account, and as of today, it's almost got $12,000. And this is the performance over the last 24 hours. And this is a long only intraday agent. So it's not shorting, it's long only. So this agent has only been going long across the highest probability trades on all pairs listed on Binance. So of all the pairs on Binance, this agent takes its time to understand the trade setup of every asset on Binance, very similar to what you can do in our discovery feature. And you'll start to see how what we've built becomes what you're seeing and how incrementally you start to build all the layers. So the agent will go through and discover the best assets. It will then, from the assets it's discovered, and I'm going to show you this working in real time in a moment, it will then decide which ones it's going to place its trades on based on the strategy that you have implemented. And it will constantly monitor the strategy to see, has the strategy changed? Because at the end of the day, financial markets are chaotic, and every single day those chaotic markets change, and you cannot expect what you were doing yesterday to work today. So the agent is constantly looking at its own strategy and saying, has this strategy, is it still valid? Has the market changed? If it has changed, how do we need to change our strategy? That strategy is never going to be, let's hope our shorts work out to make back what we've lost. Its strategy is going to be, we are looking for the lowest risk trade with the highest return in the market. I'm going to execute that. If it's not available, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit here and wait until that opportunity arises. And over the last 4 days with this particular model, it's executed 21 trades here. 21 trades with a win rate of 71%. So 15 of those trades have worked out. So of the 21 that it's traded, it's been stopped out of a bunch of those trades, and it's won 15 of them. And overall, that's returned 20% over the last 4 days. Now, given the majority of the market has been losing for the last 5 days, unless you've been using Gopher Trader, where for the last 2 weeks, we've got a community that's just been constantly shorting on the short signals, and they've been making a shit ton of money because it's been telling them to keep, positioning on shorting bounces. This will have you winning consistently, and it is winning consistently. We have seen this performance consistently over the last 3 or 4 months with a minimum win rate of 65%, and we're now seeing that increase to 71% on this long only agent that you're seeing here. So this will be one of the first strategies to go out. You'll be able to see it's actually performing in the wild. It uses a very, very, very low power model. This is a 30 billion parameter model. You can run this model on a Mac, and you can run this model on a PC. It's very fast, it's very efficient, it's very low cost. So again, where do we have a huge amount of leverage is what we're doing at Gopher. Our infrastructure and our data is insanely valuable, and it's very, very inexpensive for us to run. Therefore, very high ROI to get things back. So essentially, once you kind of create this strategy, you can do things like this. Ignore this P&L on here. This is a bug. But what I've got running here is a scalping agent, scalping strategy. And what this agent does, it takes the entire list of hyperliquid pairs on perps, 217 perps. It looks at all of those perps. So I've got a maximum of number 40 that it will look at. So imagine you're sitting there, you're going to look down the list of perps on Hyperliquid, and you're going to be like, shit, where do I start? All right, maybe I'll like order by volume or open interest. Okay, cool. And then maybe I'll do hype because I saw some KOL posting about it. Like Anson was posting about it last week about how it's going to go to infinity, or Arthur Hayes is, it's going to eat the world, so I'm going to bid because of that. The agent will go through and cycle through all of these pairs, and you can actually see in my console here that it's doing this. Right now it's pulling from our API 66 minutes of data on Solana. And then what it's doing is it's passing that information into the agent, and that agent is using its tools, of which the agent has many, many tools defined. It has like a technical analysis tool, that has a reasoning tool, that has a strategy tool. And what it will do is it will try and figure out, like, it will assess and recommend which assets are the highest probability trades. And right now it's trading Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana because it feels that they're high enough liquidity, high enough volatility to make a scalping strategy worth executing. It's going to look for other pairs every minute to see, is there anything else that's better than Bitcoin, Solana, and Ethereum right now? And if it finds them, it will add them to the list. And once they're added to the list, it then continues to analyze which of those assets are the best trade today. And what you'll see right now is it has 3 active positions. It's long Binance, ETH, USDT, and Sol. Currently, it's probably looking like it's going to get near its stop losses on these scalps. And over time, this will return an effective scalp strategy. And if I look at my logs here and look at the console, you can see that it's made 118 decisions since I had this running a couple of hours ago. And it's been consistently sort of buying, scalping long these assets. And then you can see it's just been selling and closing these positions as it closes them. So with the strategies, you'll be able to come in like this. You'll be able to add an agent with a strategy, customize. Think of it like Cursor for trading, if any of you are developers, and then deploy your strategy and have a full understanding of how it works and how it plays out. So this is coming really soon. The results we're getting are pretty mind-blowing, and really excited for you all to start playing with it, and excited to ship it to you all very, very soon.
Amazing. That was killer. I hope everyone loved that as much as I did. As we've been building GoTrader, getting the community's feedback, everyone's been using it, letting us know the features that they want. The obvious next question has always been, well, when can it trade for me? I love using it. I won't stop using it, but when can it actually execute on all of this data? And the answer is soon. Soon, not only will you have the ability to do that, but as Brendan just demonstrated, the ability to customize your agent, to develop the prompt, to develop the risk, and then you can even test it via paper trading over a certain period of time to make sure it's viable before you even flip the button for real assets. That gives you the ability to test agents, configure them, deploy them, compete them against each other, and then use your best performing agents or other people's best performing agents to actually auto trade and generate, which is just killer. There was a post I saw today that Zach had flagged, and it was basically talking about N of 1 and saying most AI trading bots aren't making much money. And that's not surprising. They were trained on human-made data, so they behave like humans. Greedy when others are greedy, fearful when others are fearful. And in the end, their performance just mirrors a mediocre human trader only with faster and better grammar. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that whole sentiment. That's not great. But I think what it's really saying underneath all of that is that N of 1 is not working with high quality specialized data for trading, and then models that are hyper configured around that data to execute results. And that is, go ahead, Brendan.
Yeah, I'm going to say it, and I'm going to throw the gauntlet down. I'm going to say that the person building the model needs to know how to trade, because the agent is as good as the person telling the agent what to do. If you're a coder using AI and you're a bad coder and you're a bad architect, you're going to get bad code. It actually isn't the agent's fault. It is actually your fault for not giving the right parameters and the right instructions to your intern, or however you want to lovingly refer to your AI agent. We lovingly refer to them as our interns in the organization. Shit in, shit out. And what I'm here to say is that the people that are building these trading strategies aren't good traders.
I think that's really, really wise. And then that essentially brings us full circle to now let's talk about the ability to develop these agents and deploy them, compete them, and how that actually connects to the layer 1, Brendan, that is Gopher as a whole. Because I think that is a key next step. So just to break this down for everyone who's watching, we talked about our legacy data and the value that we're bringing with it to sentiment analysis. We talked about our unique and proprietary financial and data streams around 100,000 plus assets, and how we're pulling that into GoTrader with an array of features. We then demoed the ability to use all of that to deploy agents to actually do automated trading strategies and compete them with each other. Now, the next logical question is, well, how does that connect to the Gopher layer 1, which you guys are building and launching soon? So let's answer that very question and kind of bring this full circle.
Yeah, it's a really good question. So what you're going to notice over the coming weeks with Gopher is an extreme and surgical focus on the use of data in AI trading. The everything we do, the air we breathe, and the time that we dream and we think is all focused on solving this one problem, which is making alpha available for everyone. Like, everybody should have access to these tools. You should not be expected to be a good trader. You should be expected to have tools that can help you be a great trader. In the same way that, we have apps to help us learn languages, there is going to be an application, a platform where that helps you learn how to be a better trader. And ultimately, it's about risk management. Like, every single decision that you make in trading is about risk management. And the majority of people don't know how to manage risk. Why? Because you want to make money. And you see these LARPers on X that have somehow longed bonk at the bottom full port, and they happen to have been lucky. And just watch, over time, they'll be lucky no more, and they'll get blown up. And you're seeing that right now. So that does not work. In the one case that it does work, there are 1,000 cases where it doesn't work. And for us, what we want to create here is an ecosystem and an environment that ends up trending the strategies that are best up and to the right. And what I mean by that is, how do we create an incentive mechanism and an ecosystem that rewards and incentivizes people that are building the best strategies, that have the best outcomes as measured by return on equity, return on investment, through those models. And that return on equity might be to a fund that's deployed on chain, that's using this strategy to trade, that you're all LPs in. You've invested into that kind of vault like you would in DeFi. Maybe it's a pro trader on X who has built his own proprietary model and is using Gopher Trader and Auto Gopher to trade on Hyperliquid, and their strategy is absolutely crushing it. So I published on X a couple of days ago this diagram, which is the Gopher ecosystem. It's a lot of scrolling, and I'm gonna walk through this really quickly. So the layer one is a Cosmos-based blockchain that is in testnet phase right now, and many of you are doing a great job of stress testing our network. This is upgrading our Massa token into Gopher token, and at the right point in time, token economics of this will be released in the roadmap to getting the layer one live, which is going to be happening in Q1 of next year, early Q1 of next year. Early Q1 of next year is not March. It's not really even February, so it's January. And mainnet is going to happen, and mainnet is focused on delivering one specific feature to our mainnet. Where is my lovely diagram over here? This is like our kind of organizational whiteboard. Said it to the team on a call this morning that anyone in the organization can go in here and put ideas on it, and it's like we have a whiteboard in our kind of office. So it has a ton of stuff in here that we work from. As part of this, you can see like we have currently on testnet our emissions module on the layer one, and this is like BitTensor. So governance can determine, does 100% of emissions go to validators? Does 80% of emissions go to validators, and does 20% go to the GopherNet module? And what GopherNets are going to be, imagine that of the 700 people on this stream today, every single one of you has a strategy deployed. You're all competing against each other to have the best strategy. The best strategy that is measured by the return on equity of your trading strategy. So your return, like I showed you up here, this is returning, this is almost at $1,200 from 10,000, 20% over the last week, annualized, that's a crazy number. You will get a proportionally higher amount of emissions on this. So what does the Gopher ecosystem look like? The Gopher ecosystem looks like a layer one that has got all of the tools and the infrastructure required to deploy strategies. And when you deploy your strategy, you can register your strategy as a GopherNet, and you'll be competing against other strategies for emissions. And what does that competition do? That competition means that you're constantly reevaluating and realigning your strategy to be the most profitable strategy, to get the best returns with the lowest risk profile, the highest risk reward profile. And that's essentially lifting the value of the entire network. Your strategy has to use the data that is provisioned by the layer one. That could be like X data, Reddit data, all of the financial data streams that we have. You tap into that, and your model pays back to the layer one in the same way you pay for storage on Ethereum with gas, in the same way that you pay for transaction fees to move Bitcoin. You're paying a fee back down to the layer one to get access to this incredibly high quality data, so as you can run the best strategy on top of the layer one. And this is what's rolling out. Like on testnet right now, we have the emissions module. We'll soon be rolling the GopherNet module in tandem to the auto Gopher strategy. And what you'll be able to do is deploy strategies and start competing in this ecosystem, not only making money from your strategy, but then also earning revenue incentives from the network by directly linking your model back to the data that you're using. And as revenue flows in from all of these participants and funds using the data in the platform, those revenues will be used to buy back the Gopher token. And there is going to be there'll be community airdrop for those of you that are participating in building and working. There'll be an ICO as well for the new token. For those of you that have had Massa token, you'll be able to swap into the new token as well. And this is the birth of a much bigger ecosystem with a much bigger vision, with a much more easy to understand methodology behind why does this layer one exist. We have seen as a team over the years that the most successful layer ones are not generalized layer ones. The most successful layer ones are specialized layer ones. Bitcoin is specialized in storing value. Ethereum specialized now in stable coins. It's the chain for stable coins. Solana specialized in meme coins. Gopher It's going to be specialized in AI trading and bringing the entire like $5 trillion hedge fund industry on chain and decentralizing it. So where will you go to have the best trading experience in an automated way? Gopher. Where do you go to have the best perps experience? Hyperliquid. Where do you go to have the best like what would you use Avalanche for? I have no fucking idea. Like it's generalized. Like I don't know. What would I use Avalanche for? No idea. So you can very quickly see that like the winners here are the platforms that go really focused, really specialized, provide the highest amount of value. And the highest amount of value right now is providing all of you on this stream, the millions of traders out there with easy access to alpha so as you can be a better trader. And that's the vision and the roadmap. For those of you that might have seen the ticker, we have a pre-sale coming up for the ICO. It's going to be on the 18th of November. So that's a little under 2 weeks. We're seeing obviously pretty significant and crazy demand for that. And you'll need to pre-register and submit an allocation. We will have allocation criteria, and we are not setting the price of the pre-sale. You as the community set the price. So what is the trend today? The trend today in ICOs is more of a like 2017 type style where, excluding the VCs, not marking up the price based on your demand and where you think the value is, you set the price. So there'll be pre-sale coming up, which will be for early adopters, early community, and then there'll be a main ICO early December, and then TGE in January. And all of you that have master tokens, you'll be taken care of. And all of you that have master tokens will be able to swap through either a centralized exchange into the new token, very much like Apex did with Asta. After the centralized exchange TGE, there'll then be a manual swap. But you're going to be incentivized to swap fast. The longer it goes on post TGE, the less the ratio of swap into the new chain is going to be. So you're going to have to do it, get prepared. The first 7 days, you're going to want to be swapping. After that first 7 days, the swap rate is going to halve. After the next 7 days, it's going to halve again, and slowly halve until the swap rate goes down. And that is to incentivize all of you to get into the new network quickly and transition and migrate across. And more information will be released soon, but this is alpha for everybody. So you're getting this information first from us.
Amazing. Woo, that was a lot of alpha for everyone who is tuning in. That was a lot of information. So let's just recap that a little bit. Thank you, Brendan, for just openly sharing all of that.
Bang on 12 o'clock.
Say it again.
Bang on 1 hour.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to be wrapping up here, but just wanted to share again that the ICO pre-sale is going to be happening on, I think you said the 18th, right? That's what the 18th?
Yeah, let me just sanity check myself. That is the right date. It's not next Thursday, it's the following Thursday. Wait, no, Tuesday.
Yep.
Tuesday the 18th.
Tuesday the 18th. So make sure to register, make sure to complete KYC, make sure to select your allocation. I dropped the link under the stream for everyone to go do that. Do that now, don't wait. And then we'll be kicking off that pre-sale for our most loyal community members, where you guys get to set the price and get in nice and early. And then the rest, the next stage will be the community sale. And then we will be moving right on to TGE, swap, and exchange listings. So I hope that you all could see that the scope and scale of what we're building has not only grown tremendously in its value and what we're actually delivering, but we've also specialized what we're doing in a way that actually makes Gopher even more valuable, more interesting, and really takes the bleeding edge of AI technology trading in all accounts. I mean, what these guys are doing, I just get the benefit of marketing it. It's just incredible to see everyone here on our team build. They're like mega cracked, and the truth is, this is the bleeding edge of AI and trading. And with that, we're launching an entire layer 1 dedicated to that. And that is alpha for everyone, where everyone can benefit on what this technology can unlock when it comes to value. So with that, thank you, Grant, for the demo. We're excited to get that sentiment up and live on GoTrader. We'll definitely announce that and drop that when it's live. And thank you, Brendan, for walking us through everything else today. We'll be back next week with more alpha for everyone. Any closing thoughts?
Yeah. Just thanks everyone in the community for your constant support and feedback. We're constantly grinding and shipping, and if you have any feedback for us, drop into our groups, and feature suggestions, ideas, what you want to see, problems with the product, give us all that feedback, and we're iterating and shipping lightning fast at the moment.
Awesome. Grant, any last words?
Gopher. Go Gopher.
Let's go for. Cool. My last words are a disclaimer. Nothing that you saw here today is financial advice. Trading is risky, so use all of our products mindfully. They all currently are just analysis and tools for you to make better decisions, but you retain ultimate responsibility for. With that, we're excited to enter this next chapter of Gopher and bring more alpha for everyone. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for turning up. Have a great day, everyone. See you next week.
Cheers.
Success.
Bye.